is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop. Welcome to DBL, everyone. Hi, guys. It's Friday, October 8th. We made it to the end of the week. I'm Tori here with Erica and Al, and we're very grateful you're joining us. Well, all right, huh? Okay, everyone does that for Matthew McConaughey. There's been a lot of talk about Matthew McConaughey running for governor of Texas, but he's getting some criticism from other politicians for not taking a stand on big issues like abortion, which is a pretty big deal right now in Texas. But now he's speaking out, sort of. So tell us what you think. Here's what he told a New York Times podcast.
I'm not going to come out and tell you right now on this show, here's where I stand on abortion. But this latest move by Texas it feels a little juvenile in its implementation to me. And also 6 weeks. 6 weeks? If you're saying that your discussion of abortion is even on the table to consider, 6 weeks does not really make that a honest consideration.
Okay. I kind of find it's juvenile not to answer a question about abortion in Texas when you might be running and there's women under that law right now.
I think it was a diplomatic response.
Yeah, it was sort of a nothing.
Based on likely the idea that he's not sure if he's running 100% or not.
Fair.
And if he's not sure, then it's probably a self-preservation move to not discuss politics based on him still being an actor.
But he's like being asked these questions. Should you not have something prepared, I feel like, for that?
I think on something like abortion, it's okay to not have something
Even
prepared.
when you're running possibly in Texas?
He sounded like somebody that's thinking his way through this answer, rather than just having a canned answer.
All right, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm glad you're passionate about it. It's a big deal, Tori.
And I don't think you should come to the table, even if you might be sitting at that table unprepared or ill-prepared or not ready to talk about something that's affecting half the constituents in that state.
Well, this is a fairly new thing, unfortunately, and I think that he does have to, if we are going to be political, he does have to kind of baby step this because he does want to get the people that are on the margins. He's not going to get the pro-life do or die, but if there are people on the margins, if he approaches it the right way as a politician, he might be able to grab some of those people. And everything is so 49-50 that the people in the margins kind of swing the vote for you.
Yeah, but you said the key word, if he's going to be a politician, which he has not said 100% publicly that he's going to be. So I think that this is definitely a diplomatic PR response.
Very true. And he might not have wanted to say it in that particular time. He might want to have waited until he was more sure, but I would have loved to have known his take on that. Let me know what you think. We've got something to talk about that happened on The View yesterday. I don't know if y'all saw this. So Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran made a fat joke, we think, at Whoopi's expense, and things just got really awkward. We want to know your opinion. Take a look.
And when you get finished with those jeans and decide you don't like them, give them to me. I'm going to make 2 pairs. All right.
Oh, Barbara.
Okay, so now we don't like you.
Oh, yeah. Geez. Barbara apologized for the joke. Take a look at the video she tweeted right after the show. Take a look at this.
I made a joke at Whoopi's expense, which I now realize wasn't funny. For anyone who I may have offended unintentionally, I just want to say I really am very sorry.
Okay, so just so you all know, Whoopi has responded to the response. She has tweeted that she and Barbara, I think we have the tweet actually, if we can pull it up. She and Barbara have known each other for a really long time. They've been friends forever. I know your humor and I know you were kidding.
Her face, did she tell her face that? She didn't look. The thing is, because if that's the case, Erica, think about this. We walk on a tightrope on the show every day. And when we talk about things and you throw things at me and I throw things at Tori, we don't set each other up to look crazy. Okay, you don't ever pass me a question like, well, I guess you don't care about black women now. Like, that puts me in a bad spot.
Right.
So when they have this interaction, especially as a comic, for as long as Whoopi's been a comic, I was surprised that because I think the audience was kind of waiting for Whoopi's reaction. If Whoopi had laughed like, girl, you crazy, I'm gonna get you after the show, I think that would have kind of lightened it, and I don't think she would have even had to issue an apology. Like, what do you think?
Well, I think there's 2 things going on. One, that when you're sitting at a table like we are right now, then there is a demographic in the audience that relates directly to maybe one of you. So people are taking that comment and they're making it very personal to themselves, which if they find offensive, and rightly so. Now let's talk about Anna. because you talked about not setting your co-host up in crazy situations for your own personal gain. Anna was right there behind her saying, sis, we've had a couple people on this show who wore that same dress, so you aren't even the first one to be like, you
Anna
aren't like,
Navarro
basically
picked right up on
she
it.
was like here and here, like you are not original, and also like I'll snatch you up too.
Very quick.
But at the end of the day, it is a difficult position to be sitting on a live show like this, and you know you're going back and forth. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss, and that miss can be catastrophic.
Totally, totally, absolutely.
That's a lot to put on a joke then.
Right.
Well, we're going to stop telling jokes if I miss with one. If our boss Bert says if you miss with a joke, it's going to be catastrophic to your career.
Well, here's the deal.
Not to your career,
right?
Just catastrophic to the nature of that conversation, because it went down after that.
Absolutely.
And now this is the story, right? We're not talking about anything she brought up or Shark Tank. We're talking about Barbara Corcoran's maybe mean mentality in that. I do have to say, I also felt like the audience, the climate has just changed. Like maybe in 1999 you could have made a fat joke. You can't make one now, and I'm for the better. Don't you think the audience was like, this ain't cool? That's what I felt. Yeah, I just felt like they were like, not okay.
It depends on who's making the fat joke.
Yeah.
I think if somebody that's overweight makes a fat joke, I mean, my friend John Panette, God rest his soul, passed away. He was a heavyset guy. He made jokes. His entire act was about being overweight. Ralphie May, God rest his soul, was his entire act was about being overweight. So I think if you are overweight, you can make that joke. I'm trying to rack my head as a comic. I don't know how many people, especially a woman that is not overweight to a woman that is, can make a fat joke and get away with it.
Well, I mean, come on. It's basically like, you know, I'm better than you. Like, that's how it feels. That's how it came across.
Yeah,
and so, I mean, I'm glad she issued the apology. Of course, some people are not going to accept it.
Right.
But she missed.
Right. She did miss. You're no whoopee, let me tell you that. Before we go to break, I've got a dog who's gone viral. Boji, who is a street dog, loves to take public transportation in Turkey. Now, his Instagram and Twitter accounts have gained tens of thousands of followers. He's been fitted with a microchip so officials can track his movements on the city's metros and trains. Well, here he is riding a bus. Some other travelers are even posing for selfies with him. He loves to take the train also, although sometimes Boji gets a little tired and needs to take a nap. And look, here's Boji on a ferry, enjoying the view, just looking out at the water. It's public transportation dog, Al.
Whose dog is this?
It's someone's. It's someone's.
This is like a children's book that has a very sad, weird ending. Usually they're supposed to be like reunite at the end and find their way home.
He's a loner.
It's just
Boji.
a wandering dog that's been
He's
shipped.
a nomad who loves to take public transportation.
Why doesn't somebody adopt him?
Maybe he is adopted by another loner who doesn't want to be
by
with
somebody
the
that's really low-key about being a dog owner, I guess.
Well, we have a cat. We have a neighborhood cat, and this cat we always have to be very aware. Like, I'm like, close the screen door, because he's constantly roaming the streets, and I don't want him in the house, to be quite honest. But yeah, apparently the dog or the cat belonged to a neighbor that has since moved away. So now I'm constantly looking for
you're
this
gonna become
cat.
this cat owner.
Well,
you're the cat's new owner.
My husband's allergic, so yeah. But
that's the other children's book. Erica locks out the homeless cat. Read it when you're done crying about Boji. Go to sleep.
Erica kicks out the cat, the orphan cat. Coming up on DBL, you know them from Glee and The Office. Jane Lynch and Kate Flannery are here. The hilarious duo shares what they have in the works. And yeah, we're going to go there. Dave Chappelle, he's facing some backlash with his new Netflix special deemed transphobic. Now he's doubling down and how his comments to fight back at cancel culture are working for him. We're talking about it coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
Everyone's saying cute dog. There are dogs that just love to be alone.
That dog looked groomed. That didn't look like a
No,
street
it's somebody's dog, clearly. They just know
But
that
is
it's...
it?
No, it's not. It just
It's
lives on
not.
the street.
Nobody's dog is on the subway knows how to make it back to their stop and get off.
There is a dog that goes to a park by himself on a bus. We've done the story.
He's not
He
taking
gets a
bus
badge.
transfers.
He takes a bus, and the bus driver lets him off, and he goes to play in the park by himself, and he gets back.
This. And also, there's no way to verify that cockamamie story.
I love the word cockamamie.
I know. I haven't used
it
in like 14 years.
So, cockamamie in Yiddish, I don't know if you guys know, which is a mix of Hebrew and German. We say fakakta, which is cockamamie. So in my family, there was a lot of because of the, the So I'm comfortable with that, real comfortable. And then a lot of this too. I don't know, this, the Jews. But I think a lot of people have their own culture, have their own gestures. And I don't know about you guys, but when there's a meme that's going around that goes, a true text my mom just sent me. And this guy writes to his mom, I'm just not feeling really good mentally. And she goes, maybe have a banana and sit outside for a while. And it's cute, but you're like, that's a smart idea. Potassium, magnesium, some vitamin D.
And just some sunlight, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually think that's a really smart idea. But what a cute little mom to say that.
That is a really...
But my mom's always like, what do you need to eat? Jews always feed you.
Yeah.
So that's that culture. It's just to feed you as much as you can.
We call it comfort food.
Yeah, but the problem is when it becomes emotional eating. And you are morbidly obese. La la la.
I think that
I
maybe
hate when
some
the
old
doctor
school
says
ways of like just taking a walk, maybe that does work.
Yeah, take a walk. Not you. So welcome back to DBL. This story is everywhere, and I really want to get Eric and Al's opinion and your opinion, so write in. Dave Chappelle continues to come under fire over his latest Netflix special, The Closer. So in it, he makes jokes that take aim at transgender people and the LGBTQ community. And he even said he sided with Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, who refused to acknowledge that trans women were women. Jacqueline Moore, a trans writer and a showrunner for the Netflix series Dear White People, tweeted that she will refuse to work with Netflix if it continues to stream Dave's special. And GLAAD, the organization, tweeted, quote, Dave Chappelle's brand has become synonymous with ridiculing trans people and other marginalized communities. Negative reviews and viewers loudly condemning his latest special is a message to the industry that audience don't support platforming anti-LGBTQ diatribes. We agree. Meantime, Dave received a standing ovation at the Hollywood Bowl last night and said, quote, this is what being canceled is. I love it.
Yeah,
comic here.
Lot to unpack here.
Comic here who's pretty progressive in your views about trans people, very open about it. How the heck do you feel about this, Al?
It's so weird. And I told Erica when we were in the makeup room, I just randomly woke up at 2:30 this morning. I always sleep through the night. Couldn't go back to sleep, ended up watching the special. So this is really fresh in my head. And, so I'm watching it knowing what the narrative is going in. And I watched it and I thought about like just all the specials that I've seen Dave do. I've seen him perform live a bunch of times. My friend knows him, so I've been in his company quite a few times, spoke on the book a couple times. And I looked at this special and I understand the language that people are put off by. But if we went back, I go back and listen to a lot of George Carlin. He uses a lot of language. There's F-bombs in there. He uses the N-word to make a point. There's one way to use language to hurt, and there's one to kind of like make you sit up and think about what we're talking about. We're talking about people's lives and talking about, I got from him a man's journey and understanding and meeting somebody that he would have never met, developing a friendship and having a human experience with that person. The language is rough and it's gonna put a lot of people off, especially if they're going in with a narrative. But there's a story that he tells in there that more than the language I'll take away from it. But some people don't feel the same way, Erica. And that's okay too.
No, and I appreciate you breaking it down that way and painting that picture for people. And then again, also, would it be your place to say if that language is offensive or not, appropriate or not, because you aren't a member of that community? And I think that's a fair statement. I think that I've always been, you know, in terms of Dave Chappelle, when I talk about him personally, like from meeting him personally, I thought he was a great man. In terms of him as a comic and performer, I think there's a very fine line between genius and insanity, right? Like, and with Dave Chappelle, it's so interesting to me because he is someone who will not be anything other than who he is in that moment.
Yeah.
And when you have someone who is so free to be themselves and still get the jeers, but definitely the cheers, then they can almost comment in a social construct in a different way because they aren't tied to the idea of, will I be blacklisted? Will this be over?
There's a
for
freedom
me?
to it.
There's
Right,
an
because it's
authenticity
almost
there.
like if this is my last, then so let it be.
Right.
So I don't know. I haven't seen the
Right.
special, and now I'm like, well, what's the point here? Because can we comment on it if we haven't seen it? And are we having conversations that are going to encourage more people to see it?
Right. That's
So-
interesting. Is this all backfiring? Somebody wrote in Glad was more upset about DaBaby's homophobic comment. He also makes a comment about DaBaby in it,
Yes.
Dave Chappelle standing up for him. So for me, I always have a hard time if the joke is about someone's like authenticity and who they are. But if you're saying there's more to it, I have to see it to comment.
Yes.
And I'm interested in seeing that. I appreciate that context. I
Okay.
agree with that. All right, we'll be right back. Let us know how you feel.
More electric cars are for sale now than ever before, according to the U.S. Energy Department. But that's prompting several verified viewers like Joyce to ask if that's a good thing. So Joyce, let's verify. Are electric cars worse for the environment than gas-powered cars? Our sources are the EPA and the U.S. Department of Energy. There's obviously a lot of variety between vehicles. So to help standardize things a bit, we're going to compare a Tesla Model 3, which was 2019's best-selling electric vehicle in the U.S., with 2019's best-selling gas-powered vehicle, the Ford F-150, which gets about 27 miles per gallon. The Oak Ridge National Laboratory compared the two and found a gas-powered vehicle like the F-150 emits 410 grams of carbon dioxide per mile. Meanwhile, the Model 3 emits 0 grams. But if you consider the emissions in generating the electricity to charge the car, it's 110 grams of CO2 per mile. The other factor to consider is the energy needed to produce the vehicles, especially an electric car battery. The EPA says it's true more greenhouse gases are emitted to produce an electric car than a gas car. However, when you add that to the reduced emissions per mile over a vehicle's lifetime, the EV emits nearly 50% less. So it's false that electric cars are worse for the environment than gas-powered cars. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What would Madonna do? Well, the answer to that question is usually date a younger man. So let's see some arm candy, girls. Sorry, freshmen. You're gonna have to start trolling the middle schools.
Welcome back to DBL. She played the crooked coach in Glee, and now she's teaming up with Meredith from The Office to make us laugh our way into the holidays. Jane Lynch and Kate Flannery share what it's like touring together as friends in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Jane Lynch and Kate Flannery, welcome to DBL. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Very good. How are all you? Great.
Feeling good, feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling fresh. All right. First, we have to ask you, what do you say to fans who just want you to revisit those roles as two of TV's most unforgettable characters, Meredith from The Office and Glee Sue Sylvester? Are there any reboots?
Ooh.
Not that I'm aware of, but I will act out any episode of The Office if you ask me. Fine.
Excellent.
I'll do any episode on the spot. Just ask me.
So awesome of
And
you.
there are no reboots as far as I know for Glee.
Will you do the Sue, or are you kind of like, I'm done with this?
I'm done with this.
I knew something bad was going to happen today.
You said that yesterday.
Yeah, my neighbor got murdered.
So great talking to you two ladies today. You guys, I didn't know this. You guys put an album together, a Christmas album, back in 2016, which I think is wonderful. But you guys knew each other way before that. When did you guys first meet?
Well, the very first time I ever went to Second City, Jane Lynch was on stage understudying for Bonnie Hunt. And then little did I know that a year and a half later, I became Jane's understudy in another show in another theater, the Annoyance Theater. Crazy.
Yeah. So we've known each other for decades, and we've been singing with each other for about that long. And we've been touring together now for about 7 years, believe it or not. And we have an album, Christmas album. It came out 2016. But the great thing about Christmas albums is that you can, they refresh themselves every year.
They're evergreen.
We're gonna be rocking with the rhythm of some holiday tunes. But baby, it wouldn't be a party if it didn't have you. A swing a little Christmas time.
You can tell the chemistry between you guys,
it's
right?
amazing.
Absolutely. They're French. You can tell.
Absolutely.
The harmony is there, if you will. Now, you're currently both in a live cabaret show called The Two Lost Souls with Tony Guerrero, Quartet. And right after that, you're going to be back on the road with A Swingin' Little Christmas. How are these two different?
Well, one has nothing to do with Christmas, and the other one's all Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah, but it's basically the same style of music that we love so much, which is that kind of jazzy late 50s, early 60s stuff that the Tony Guerrero Quartet just excels at.
They're amazing.
And our Christmas album is all your favorite Christmas songs, but set to that. It's a throwback, set to that kind of late 50s, early 60s jazzy big band thing.
Close to the people who are close to me, here in the home I love. You see that a man would come who would change the shape of my dreams.
I need you guys to make a commandment here on the show that we will go by from now on, so no pressure on you guys. Your Swingin' Little Christmas tour starts right after Thanksgiving. When do the holidays start? Is it after Thanksgiving? Is it after Halloween? Like, when is it officially holiday time?
I feel like for me, it's before Thanksgiving. I just get it in my heart. I can't help it. I love it.
Yeah, I don't want to peak too soon.
Yes.
So I try to hold it off until, like, say, December 1st.
Oh, that's discipline.
I get made fun of a lot on this show, ladies, because I put mine up the day after Halloween.
It's crazy.
Christmas decorations down, the tree goes up in my house, because I want to celebrate Christmas a little bit longer. I love that time of year.
It's insane.
Good.
Jane and Kate, I could speak to you forever. Thank you for joining us. DBL Nation, visit JaneLynchOfficial.com to check out tour dates for A Swingin' Little Christmas. I cannot wait. I'll be putting it on. This Jew will be listening.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
There you go. We'll be right back. Thanks, guys.
Party where so grind a good come. We're taking the chance to get together for some
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
One study claims the heart-pumping screams you get from a horror film can be good for your health. So can these ghosts, goblins, and thrills actually make you burn calories? Let's verify. Our sources, a Dr. Vasant Patel, Vice President of Carolina Cardiology Associates and Chairman in the Department of Medicine at Piedmont Medical Center, and sports medicine physician Dr. David Guyer. Claims say people can burn up to 184 calories during one sitting of a horror flick.
And so sometimes people get up, they scream, they make the emotional gestures, and I think that what leads to calorie loss.
Watching a scary movie does appear to be similar to exercise. Better heart rate, better breathing, exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide.
Dr. Patel and Dr. Guyer agree that these movies can burn calories much like you would when exercising. However, how many calories you burn while watching one of these movies depends on the person.
Certain individuals who have anxiety problems or some other medical problems, these kind of movies may not provide the same type of environment for them.
What we don't know is, does this apply to everybody or just people that like horror movies? And would the effects decrease over time the more you watch?
And while these movies can have an exercise-like effect, Dr. Patel says too much of it can have an adverse effect.
There is a population of individuals who do not like scary movie, and actually after the movie, many people have difficulty sleep. It's almost like scary effects. They see certain things playing out in their lives.
So we can verify that yes, scary movies can burn calories. However, the amount of calories burned depends on who is watching and how many bags of popcorn they eat. Like Dr. Patel said, every person is different, so if you don't like scary movies, like myself, no need to torture yourself and sit through one. Taking a walk is just fine. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Welcome back to DBL. If you dream of winning the Powerball, beware of a new scam. It's time for Security Alert, sponsored by LifeLock. So scammers are using Facebook to inform people of unclaimed winnings. Then they follow up with a link prompting you to provide personal information. According to Powerball, lotteries do not contact prize winners through social media. So anytime you're asked to provide personal information from an unsolicited source, Google it to see if it's already been identified as a scam. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-419-0131 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. Great comment from Carmen Ranchero. I truly think cancel culture is very dangerous. I am a left, progressive, gay Democrat and think that canceling people is just leading to dividing us more. Interesting comment to think on. Thank you for writing us. As always, DBL's new every day. We'll see you Monday, same time, same place. Be safe this weekend. Bye, guys.